Let's
Are
do it.
we making this like a Philly stream since they're up?
Yes, this is definitely a hardcore Philly stream. All right, here we go, folks. This is a hardcore Phillies stream. As we said, we are enjoying the Phillies game tonight, as it is 7-0 in the bottom half of the seventh inning, a 3-2 count to Kyle Schwarber, and that, my friends, is where we're going to quickly turn the notifications on to the stream. Things rocking and rolling early. We're already in. I'm in. Are you boys into your own stream yet, or what? We're not gonna watch our own stuff, support our own stuff. But folks, 7-0 for the Phillies at home, a madhouse at Citizens Bank Park today, as the Phillies looking to take a 2-1 series lead in this World Series, and that, my friends, is where we will turn to our man Clem on the bottom half of the right portion of your screen. Clem, you've been watching this one the whole way home. We've been pretty much keeping tune with the Oilers game early, but we're through 6.5, almost into the seventh inning stretch time. Where we looking with this ball game?
Yeah, Phillies are gonna win. It's good stuff.
That's your analysis after 7 innings almost. I love it. I love
Well,
it.
I
All
think
right.
it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that Lance McCullers was tipping his pitches. So pretty cool that the Phillies were able to pick up on that. I think.
Well, now Kyle Schwarber set down on strikes. Brandon, to you, we've got Quick Gillies TV joining us on the top half of your screen as well. A quick, hopefully seventh inning, and we can get on and over to the post game tonight. That'll be our big live hit this evening. More or less, just trying to get coverage for all three of us to see how this one finishes off. Just a quick question on you. Did you really expect the Phillies? I think they've got 5 homers to start this ball game. To hit 5 homers in Game 3 at home, coming home, and have the Astros shut out through 6 innings.
No, I didn't expect this at all. With the starting pitching the Phillies had the first two games was terrible. Suarez came into this game and he's been the key part of why they could put this offense up. They didn't have to worry about trailing nothing. They came and played their baseball.
And Clem, who has been the most impressive player tonight to you? I know Bryce Harper led it off with that big home run. You have Reese Hoskins with a home run, Kyle Schwarber with a home run. As Brandon mentioned, you've got Suarez in there. What do we got going?
I mean, I won't say Harper because I think that's the obvious choice. I'll say Suarez because not only is he throwing a shutout, or he threw a shutout for 5 innings, he really set the tone early with a 1-2-3 inning. He pitched a shutout, obviously, got out of a couple of jams. I think the one in the fifth inning, there was a guy on first and second, got Altuve to pop up. So, or maybe it was first and third. Maybe he had both chances that he got out of. So, Suarez looking really good, and I think the Phillies definitely need that out of their 3 hole because you can't rely on Wheeler and Nola for everything. So, for them to get that out of him tonight and use him effectively where he can come back. He was only on like 63 pitches or 70 pitches or something like that. So for him to be able to come back on a little bit less of a strain, like a long outing, I think is really helpful.
And this is really just a question of whoever wants to jump in on this one. Just kind of the work the Phillies have put in this World Series, right? They win game one, come back down 5 rip. Obviously, they go down 5 rip again, but don't fully give up and score some runs in game two. Come home in game three and make up for what they didn't score in game two by scoring 7 here in the seventh inning. Kind of a thought on the Phillies offense and their never say die attitude so far this series. Maybe from both of you.
Well, I'll say that I think the atmosphere, the that itself has played a huge part in it. But I think just the chemistry and the team that Philly's put together is pretty amazing. They're all hyped for each other. They don't seem to care who gets to shine, except for it seems like it's Bryce Harper a lot. So obviously, them being excited for him is super cool. But like Remuto had a big hit in the first game to win them that game, game number one. That was big, obviously, big, huge celebration for him. Tonight with Hoskins and Schwarber and Harper hitting home runs, everyone seems excited. So, really good culture that they have there in Philly right now, and super exciting 4. I mean, pretty much a must-win game 3. So they're on top of it.
Well, B. Jilly, back to you. Thoughts?
They're playing their game. Like I just stated, they're not trailing. They could come out, play their own game, focus on each one another's game. And where would this Phillies team be if all the rumors before the season started, Kyle Schwarber to the Blue Jays, to the Red Sox, going somewhere in the AL East, and the Phillies emerged as the front runner on the last day, and he's like, no, I'm going to play in Philadelphia. I'm not going to the AL East. Give props to the GM for bringing Kyle Schwarber in. This would be a whole different team without Schwarber.
And that's really just a graphic to your point they showed on the stream a few minutes ago is the graphic there of Dave Dombrowski. He is the general manager that won the World Series in 1997 with the Miami Marlins. Well, I guess back then Florida Marlins. He's won it with the Boston Red Sox in 2018, and now he's got a chance to do it 3 out of his last 5 appearances in the World Series with the Philadelphia Phillies. That's pretty incredible, but to do that, you must know how to build a team, I think is the crazy part, right?
Well, exactly. You got to know how to build a team, how to work around it, and what your team's needs are. You can stress starting pitching galore, but you don't have any run support for your starting pitching, they're not going to work out. And we've seen that in game 2, where there was hardly any run support for Wheeler, and they ultimately lost the game. They came out here, gave Suarez a nice lead early with Bryce Harper's 2-run homer, and took off from there.
Well, and they're just kind of showing all the celebrities in the crowd right now, and they have everyone from Derek Jeter to Kate Upton to Rob McElhaney to you've got in there as well. I think I saw Tim McGraw even. So this is a big time star-studded event down there at Citizens Bank Park as we now enter the top half of the 8th inning, potentially an inning and a half away from this ball game being over. Nick Nelson comes in and gets his first postseason appearance, up 7-0 over top of the Houston Astros for the Philadelphia Phillies. Clem, to you, I think just how important is it now for the Phillies to use the right guys here in the last 2 innings to try and just keep this one right where it is. Don't let the Houston Astros sniff nothing and just put this one to bed in the next 6 outs.
Well, you know what? I actually am surprised that who's pitching right now?
Nick Nelson.
Yeah, why are they using so many pitchers? Here's the thing, though. I get that the Phillies are up 7-0, but like I don't care if this game ends 7-0 or if this game ends 7-6, as long as the Phillies win. They should be using their worst pitchers, and I think there's 2 ways to look at this.
Well, Nick Nelson is making his first postseason appearance.
Well, good. See, this is what. So there's 2 ways to look at it. One is give everybody 1 inning, keep everybody fresh, right? Give Nick Nelson 1 inning. Again, it doesn't matter if he gives up 3 home runs or not, as long as they can save their good arms. But another way to look at it, by way of doing this is I don't see why if Nelson doesn't, do bad here, if he gets a 1-2-3 inning, even gives up a home run, I don't care. Why not just use him? Why didn't they use Kyle Gibson for 2 or 3 innings? Just let him go. Like, are they really planning on using these guys for the rest of the playoffs? Maybe, but I think in a situation like this where it's 7-0, literally put a position player out there if you need to. Save your pitching as much as you can, and whether that's use one guy for the rest of the game, like I think they could do here with Nelson, or they should have done with Gibson, or keep your guys fresh, only allow them to throw 20 pitches, go 1 inning. Either way, I don't think it really matters as long as you get out of here with a win.
That's now a 2-2 count to the Houston Astros number 27, their second baseman, Jose Altuve, who is 5 pitches deep into facing Nick Nelson in the top half of the 8th inning. A 7-0 lead for the Phillies, as they're showing all kinds of fans in the stands at this Philadelphia Phillies game, and they really like to bring on the antics in the crowd in Philly. That's always something we hear about in football, but it's out in full force. Ground ball to the shortstop, handled there over to first, and that is Out number 1 in the inning, Nelson on 6 pitches knocks down Altuve, and the Philadelphia Phillies now 5 outs away from winning Game 3 here in Philadelphia. And they're going to have the comparison through June 1st through since after June 3rd. So the Philadelphia Phillies went 65-46 after Rob Thompson, the Canadian, took over and got the job done. They upped their runs per game by .2, team ERA lowered by .12 ticks, and the fielding percentage improved by .008, which is a big get when you talk about the duration of a season. Now Jeremy Pena stepping in here, and this is to both of you, whoever wants to jump in, just how exciting it's been to watch all the kids who are in their first postseason, first World Series, both on the Astros and Phillies sides, go to work in this World Series all postseason long and really have starring roles on both teams.
I'll take over on that one. It's been great to see, and there's going to be comparisons between especially Stott and Pena after this World Series is done. Who was the better rookie through the postseason as well? And Pena just won a Gold Glove for shortstop. They
Which
moved
is a
on
video
from
you can see
Correa,
on Clemhawks, by the way.
knowing that they had this kid, and he's came and produced. He had some big hits in Game 1 and Game 2. Today, he, I believe, has 1 hit. It's going to be great to see at the end of this postseason what these rookies do.
And I wish I had the picture-on-picture because I can hear your phone buzzing, and I'm wondering if that's notifications about the Oilers scoring, but we won't worry too much. I imagine you can just quickly check if it's still a 4-1 game between the Oilers and, of course, Nashville Predators, happening live over on Sportsnet up here in Canada, but it's a 1-2 count to Pena, who sees this sinker just absolutely torque out of the hand of Nelson, far and out of the zone. It nosedived there last second, but Clem, to you in a 2-2 count from Pena, just how much it means as a Minnesota Twins fan to kind of see you get Carlos Correa, but then the Astros fill that gap with a guy like Jeremy Pena, who, as mentioned, just won an AL Gold Glove for shortstop.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Carlos Correa very much, so to see him walk away from the Twins is not necessarily a sad thing. We got Royce Lewis coming up, so I think we'll have a similar situation. But I think the Astros made a good move. They didn't need to be paying Carlos Correa's salary for a Gold Glove shortstop. They got Pena, and I mean he's done well to get the Astros to where they are now, but it's not going to be enough tonight.
And 3-2 count. Nick Nelson throws it outside. Pena gets the walk. And on 12 pitches, now Nick Nelson bobbling the ball on the throwback from the catcher. And suddenly the Astros a little bit in business here. One runner on at first, 1 out in the top half of the 8th against a rookie pitcher in the all-time World Series here. About World Series experience, largest disparity in games played. The Yankees versus Diamondbacks in 2001, the Diamondbacks only had 26 combined games of experience for a 186 game difference compared to the Yankees 212 at that point. The Yankees, they won a lot of World Series there between 70 and about the early 2000s. Now just have suddenly struggled once it gets to the ALCS as Yordan Alvarez draws in here against Nelson. A 1-0 count now for him, as he will face Nelson in this at-bat with a runner at first, Pena. 2-ball count now to Alvarez, and I think, B. Gilly, to the last point for you, the last time you and I saw Alvarez, he indeed worked a walk here for Houston as well late in the game.
Yeah, he did. And, I was just thinking about that when you were doing the play-by-play, and the Phillies pitchers have done a really good job on keeping Alvarez in the park. Yeah, okay, you're walking him. That's better than hits at some points. One player they have to watch out for who's starting to heat up a little bit is Jose Altuve. He has gotten that average up, but if they can keep both of those guys in check, because with Bregman as well, World Series is there's no problem.
And now the question becomes, Clem, again to your point just about the pitching, is just how much the Phillies can manage the pitching staff here late in this ballgame, the last 2 innings, allow the guys who haven't worked this series so far to work, and get them into high leverage situations in terms of close this out, don't allow any actual high leverage situations, Like, pretend like the game is 1-1, pitch your best, go out there, try and win a ball game, and put it to bed 7-0 in the top half of the ninth. And really, how much does that mean to the Phillies going forward? As B. Gilly said, trying to win this series in Game 3 now, Game 4 tomorrow, Game 5 on Thursday.
Well, I mean, if you play your cards right, Philly shouldn't even have to go back to Houston, and I think it all starts with managing your pitchers. But like I said, I don't think it matters if you win 7-6 or if you win 7-0 or 7-2, 7-3. It doesn't matter uh, because you are saving your pitching and you are, getting out of there with a win. This crowd is going to be as electric as they are any night with a 7-6 victory or a shutout. So as long as you win, do whatever you need to win, but save your pitching. And if they're able to do that, I don't see how Philly wouldn't be in a better spot pitching from what they were able to do to McCullers, getting him out early, using Stanek, or forcing the Astros to use Stanek, and then saving Suarez. So to that point, I just think they just have to manage. Like, they don't have to be good, they don't have to be perfect. They really just can't be bad, and I think they will do okay.
So now a 2-0 game, as it was just a situation where Marsh caught a fly ball in center field there on Alvarez. And to your point again, B. Jelly, you bring up Alec Bregman, who he is kind of one of their biggest weapons on this lineup for the Houston Astros. He settles in a 1-1 count. Nick Nelson about to go 20 pitches deep in this ball game with a man at first, and it looks like they got Sir Anthony Dominguez warming up in the bullpen, so they're going to use a rather big arm to try and finish this game right here in the ninth after we go to the bottom of the eighth. I imagine, though, to both of you, I'll throw you to you, Brandon, first, and then to Clem. Just how much does things change for the Phillies if they can score 2 or 3 potentially runs in the bottom half of the eighth? Like, do you just, as Clem said, throw a position player out there in the top half of the ninth then?
I'm not gonna do that.
If you're Houston for pitching,
No, if you're the Phillies, if you can score 3 runs in the bottom half of the nine or bottom half of the eighth, make it 10-0. Do you just throw away whoever the heck out there? It doesn't matter who it has to be. Just throw them out, let them clean up the inning and get out of the game, or like obviously position player is the extreme idea of it, but do you just throw somebody out there to clean it up and move on to tomorrow, or?
no, I see Nelson's at 22 pitches right now. I just keep him in it. Like Clem said, you don't need to keep throwing out pitchers. Let them pitch a bit as there is a pitcher warming up. But it's Dominguez. You don't need to. You're up 7-0 right now. If you score even one more run, you're up 8-0. You really don't need to throw another pitcher out there. Save the arm for tomorrow, because tomorrow at top of the eighth, it could be 5-4 for the Phillies. And it's all hands on deck when it's that score.
Yeah, I don't see Dominguez having to come in at all, regardless if the score changes. If it's 7-0, it takes I don't know, 7 batters to give you a chance to tie the game. Like that would be a dumb move by the Phillies, I think, if they have to throw one of their better arms. The only thing I could think of is if you've got him on some sort of a strict pitch count, maybe a 3-batter limit. You say go out there and throw a 1, 2, 3 ninth as like a bullpen day because he's had 2 days off. Get him out there to basically warm up, and then if he throws more than 15 pitches, you say okay, you're done. But I mean, really, yeah, I don't see them using Nelson again. Like, lollipop it in there if you need to.
All right, so 2-2 count here to Bregman. Swung on. Bregman will once again foul it down the left field line. Ball lady's out there to clean it up off the field. 24 pitches now deep for Nelson, so this is kind of going to be the watch, right? I think in my opinion, if he gets out there and gets out of this inning with 30 pitches or less, I think there's a good chance they might turn back to him in the top half of the ninth, especially if they do add a run or two. Just let the kid keep working out there and enjoy kind of what his World Series experience is going to be. But Alex Bregman kind of making that next to impossible right now, running the pitch count up now 25 in the inning. Another foul ball, this time to the right field. And you got 2 outs, runner at first. I think all Alex Bregman's looking to do is try and get him to a 3-2 count, start that runner, get a barrel to ball, and try and change this game a little bit. I don't think there's much the Astros can do right now to change this game here in the top half of the 8th. Alec Bregman, though, how about this? He's just lifted it down the left field line. Foul ball. Foul ball by 10 feet on the left field side of the pole. So Nick Nelson will take a second, gather himself, and this is a big spot for the Astros. If they want to try and win this game, you see the ball goes past the pole on the outside. Astros fans in the stands, but it's all Phillies fans right there, pretty excited about catching that ball. And that ball just 6 feet? 10 feet? How close was that? That was really close. Bust out the old MLB The Show tape measure, please. 2-2 in 26 pitches, and it will be a slider away from Bregman for ball 3. So now you start the runner here. Quickly, both of you. Odds on something changing here on this runner on the go? Clem.
What?
Odds of things changing with the runner on the go from first with 2 outs, 3-2 count right here.
No.
B. Jilly.
I'm ahead of you, so I know what happens.
And things don't really change as Bregman will work a walk. And 28 pitches into the night now, all of a sudden Nick Nelson finds himself with runners at first and second, and it looks like the pitching coach is going to creep out of the below deck surface there in the clubhouse and come on up to talk to Nick Nelson, who looks like he'll be staying in this game. But I'm going to take a quick second to review how this stream's been rocking and rolling along. We've got ourselves up to 6 views in a 6-minute and 30-second average view duration. Trust me, this is about to pop off right here, right quick, because we'll be rocking and rolling as soon as this game flips to final. I promise you that, my friends. As Rob Thompson looking on here, trying to figure out what his team's going to do to shut down the Astros here in the top half of the 8th inning. And Clem, to you, just based on watching that at bat by Bregman, what did you see that allowed him to work that walk?
You're asking me like I played baseball or something.
Something. Maybe. Potentially.
I mean, he's a good two-strike hitter. Doesn't allow a lot of things past him. Puts stuff in play or fouls it off. And, I mean, just didn't get something he could really square up, so took his walk.
And now it looks like Kyle Tucker is going to be the man coming to the mound or to the batting box. Sorry, I'm getting all kinds of confused. It's running late. I've been live streaming for 3 hours already tonight. But it is Kyle Tucker coming to the plate here for the Astros, looking to change this ball game on one swing, and he's got the stance to do it. It'll be Nick Nelson throwing it down low below the zone for ball 1. Reminder, runners are at first and second. I'd have a scoreboard. Potentially I could figure it out, but in a 7-0 game, I don't think it really matters that much to have a scoreboard here on the stream. As Dominguez still warming up in the Phillies bullpen. This is a big spot all of a sudden right here in this ball game. And Tucker will slap it to left field, but with room. Caught out there by Schwarber. And my friends, we are going to the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Phillies 3 outs away in the top half of the 9th from winning Game 3 and pushing it to a 2-1 series. All right, what do we expect out of the Phillies in the bottom half of the 8th? Are they just going to try and get the pitcher back on the mound ASAP, or are they going to try and add to this run there, B. Jelly?
I'm going to say they're just going to play their game. They're going to sit back, wait for the pitch they're looking for. If it's the fastball, changeup, curveball, whatever pitch it is, play your game. You don't want to get off your game plan because that will get into your head going into tomorrow. Just stick with the game plan. If you add a few extra runs, awesome. If you don't, you're up 7-0. It's okay.
Clem?
I want to know who the Astros are going to throw out there because depending on who it is, I think that they've already worked into the bullpen a little bit with Stanek and making him throw tonight in more of a situation where they have to keep them at 0 instead of maybe throw his own game. So to do the same thing with somebody here in the ninth, I think would be super beneficial for the Phillies if they can work into the bullpen a little bit more. I'm not saying they need to get runs, but just make a guy throw 30 pitches or 25 pitches when they don't want him to. Maybe only wanted him to throw 10 to 15 or something. Just helps going forward.
And I mean, for them too, if you do want to go back to Nick Nelson, that does allow you, if you work the other team's bullpen here in the bottom of the eighth a little bit, it does allow you to give time to consider, does Nelson go back out there? Are we doing
I don't
something with
think he will.
Dominguez? What are we doing with it right there? So I think the
I think
Phillies. Sorry, Clem?
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think for the Phillies, it just allows them that breathing room to decide, okay, here's how we want to strategize the top half of the ninth in case of A, B, and C. Whereas, to my point that I was trying to make of, wouldn't you want to just go up there, three up, three down, get your pitcher out there, shut it down? That has a purpose to an extent, but absolutely, if you're playing the long game in this series, Clem, to your point, is I don't see why not. Why not go up there, make the pitcher work? It doesn't matter about putting runs on the boards. Heck, fill up the bases. 3-2 count, 3-2 count, 3-2 count, foul off a couple pitches, 7, 8 pitch counts, and just go out there and then give up your outs. So you could do a ton of things out there for sure. But anyway, I want to hear your point you were about to make.
Um, I don't know if I really remember it, to be honest. Oh yeah, I don't think you're gonna throw Nelson out there again with 30 pitches. He maybe at 20. I think that he gets another chance, especially facing more of the bottom half of the lineup. But 30 pitches. I mean, you're probably gonna want to save him just in case you need him in like Game 6 or something. Same kind of situation, maybe setting up for a Game 7. I don't know, whatever it may look like. But I think the case may be that if you warmed up Dominguez for that full inning, you're gonna throw him out there, especially with 2 days rest, just to get him that time, get him those innings. Um, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but it's probably the smartest thing to stay on more of a schedule for him, and it's probably what they'll do.
All right, well, we got Bryce Harper at the dish here. And Bryce Harper, who started this game with a bang with a big old home run to begin things here. His home run number 6 of the postseason. And the one tonight out there to right center field. Nice little shot. Oh, Clem, what?
Well, I was just saying I didn't realize that. I know that they pitched Stanek to get out of the inning that McCullers didn't get out of in the fifth inning or whatever. Is it your Quiddy? Gosh, I
Yep.
don't even know. Is he was Game 4 starter for Houston in the ALCS, wasn't he?
Maybe, potentially. I really haven't. I
I have
didn't
no
follow
idea.
Philly or Houston as much as I followed Philly.
I thought he was the one who closed out the Yankees, but I could be wrong. But if he is, it's kind of that same thing I was saying earlier. It's like, okay, yeah, they're just using him as a starter. They're down 7-0. Maybe they weren't going to use him in Game 4, Game 5, or whatever. But it's like, hey, at least you're wasting another pitcher. Like, now they can't use him tomorrow. They probably can't use him for Game 5. So you're forcing the Astros to probably go to a more of a bullpen game tomorrow, I think, which is, I think, better for the Phillies.
So Urquidy gets the first start of the bottom of the eighth. Now up to 38 pitches on the night. Jilly, to you, just a thought on kind of what Nick Castellanos has done in this World Series so far. He's been a guy that obviously makes that diving catch in the ninth inning to send it to extras, and a guy who tonight is only 1 for 3 and batting 226 on the postseason. But how much does a guy like him mean to this Phillies team this year, just based on what he's brought all over the field as opposed to just offensively?
Well, defensively, you missed it. First pitch or first at bat for Altuve. He made a sliding catch again. He's bringing the defensive game, and if he's substituting defense for offense, I'm fine with that. In every sport, it's always said defense wins championships, and that's what he's doing out there. He's putting his body out on the line to try and win this championship.
Now they're going to flash back to the first inning here, and there's the Altuve play you're talking about, and it goes all the way out. He is just lining in, looking like kind of the old yard sale slow pitch try and catch, and he gets it done right there. But now Urquidy's got him in a 2-1 count, And, well, this is where it's going to be, right? The Phillies running up that pitch count, as to your point, Clem, now up over 41 pitches. This one goes game 6. I know you mentioned 3, 4, and 5. If this one goes game 6 and they need him out there on the mound, do you see him out there for 1 or 2 innings? Just based on a 41 pitch count here late in game 3. Knowing that.
So Phillies win this game, go 2-1. I don't know what either team is going to do tomorrow for pitching. I don't know who the Phillies have it there for, but I thought Urquidy was whatever his name is. I thought he was there for, so I don't know what the Astros are going to do either. Game 5 and Game 6 will be Valdez and what's his face, Verlander.
So a strikeout there on strikeout on Castellanos, by the way, just mentioning that.
So I don't think this guy really has any purpose unless he was going to start game 4. But yeah, I think, well, being a 2-1 lead, I think that if you're the Astros, you got to play catch up, of course, and you might have to use Verlander a little bit sooner than you want. Or maybe even Valdez, because he would be the guy after Verlander. But I mean, if you're the Phillies, maybe you throw Nola out tomorrow and see if you can catch him. Verlander, I don't think that's probable, but just a thought. And maybe they steal a game and then they're up 3-1, and then they can do whatever they want.
Well, you did have the off day yesterday because of the rain out.
Yeah, so he's got 3 days. He'd be pitching on 3 days rest. See, I don't think that, or it would be 4. He'd be pitching 4 days rest because you got game 2, off day, rain out today. I mean, see, I feel like he would go game 4, but let me see if I can find it. Who would pitch game 4?
Well, now the inning is over now, and B. Chili, you want to jump in?
I'll go off of him. It's after this game, it's 2-1 Phillies. They're not coming back in the 9th unless the Phillies really somehow mess that up. How much of a shamble is Houston going to get in? Are they going to try and throw Verlander in game 4? Or do they hope in a prayer that they win game 4, then it comes the best of 3, and the first 3 pitchers to win? I'm sorry, Suarez is probably going to be the Astros' third pitcher in McCullers. Verlander's a toss-up. Verlander is a hit or miss when it comes to the World Series. And I think Wheeler's not going to win against Valdez. If you're the Phillies, you do not want this to go to 7 games. If you're the Astros, you're kind of hoping it goes to 7 games due to what pitchers you have.
Yeah, so this is what I just looked up the probables. So it looks like Javier is going for the Astros tomorrow.
That's the name we haven't mentioned, yep.
And Nola would go game 4 for the Phillies. So I think the Phillies are trying to steal one by not matching them up against Verlander. Also, like I said, with 4 days rest, it makes the most sense. And the Astros, they just have the depth, I guess. I don't think that, McCullers obviously didn't pitch well. Javier's not the greatest pitcher in the world. Like, I don't think he's a Nola, I should say, is what I mean. But like they're trying to play smart. Like I was telling Brandon earlier, is like you only need 2 good pitchers in the World Series. You got, and this is, I'll say it. It probably won't sound the best, but I'll say this: you got 2 good pitchers. Go game 1, game 2. You obviously at worst, hopefully split. Best, you take both games. Your game 3 starter, all he has to do is get lucky. In a game like this where they're up, okay, now you just put in your trash bullpen or guys who wouldn't pitch mostly. And even if you go down 2-1, now with that travel day, you're back to your starters right away. You got game 4, game 5. You win one of those for sure. Let's say it's game 4. Now you're tied 2-2. Now your ace and your number 2, whoever didn't pitch the previous game, goes up against the other one. You got yourself a game to try to win game 6, and then it's just game 7 to win it off if you can't win it. So, like, I think the Phillies are doing everything right. Is
And
basically what it comes down
well,
to.
here we go. Name we didn't see coming out of the bullpen last inning, Andrew Belletti. So they just threw up
Good.
Dominguez more or less to throw him so as he could stay warm during the off day. They're going to throw in Belletti in there to try and just close this one out. Nick Castellanos having a good meeting in the dugout with some of his, his manager and his somebody else. I don't know who that is, but Castellanos having a good time in the dugout messing around. But yeah, we're 3 outs away from this one going final. And Yuli Gurriel's the first man up here for the Astros, who will take strike number one. 95-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees from Belletti. And we are off and running in this ninth inning, top half. 2 homers, 3 RBIs. 341 batting average for Yuli Gurriel through the postseason so far.
Matt Vierling's in, by the way, too. Let's go.
Matt Vierling and Edmundo Sosa, by the way. But it's Yuli Gurriel popping this one up to second base. And why are you all excited about Matt Vierling there, Clem?
He's a Mallard.
He's a Mallard when? Let's get that information out there.
2016.
2016. What was the season like back in 2016 in with the Mallards back in the day?
He was pretty good. They had Nico Horner, too.
So a couple of guys that have moved on into the MLB. Now one of them in the World Series, and the other one of them in, of course, Nico Horner, who just had a career best year with the Chicago Cubs. Trey Mancini, 0 for 16 in 5 games this postseason, friends. That is not a trade deadline acquisition you like to see, B. Jilly. I know you were pretty excited about Houston picking up Trey Mancini, finally him leaving Baltimore with a chance to go out and do something. Kind of the excitement level now, seeing what he's done for him.
I was more excited him leaving Baltimore because of us being Blue Jays fans. But
didn't want to mention
I
that.
think I think him coming to Houston, it was a change for him. He was in Baltimore, he was an everyday player. In Houston, he's coming off the bench now. He's not getting his normal reps. His whole pregame probably has switched up because you're not worried about fielding and whatnot. And it's probably hard on a guy to go from everyday player to, hey, come up bat once a game for us.
And
yeah, I think this is a dumb move. I don't know why you're putting in Mancini here. I think they've given up. I think the Phillies are playing smart by pitching, guys who are not top high-end big leverage situations. But man, the Astros just bent over. Holy cow. Why are you batting Mancini here? That's stupid.
And I don't even know who is he batting in place of here in this ninth.
I know. I don't know that too. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, there's no way that Diaz or Maldonado or whoever, I don't know who it would have been, is any worse. I just think the Astros literally just quit.
Well, it's 3-1 to Mancini, and he may be coming off the bench to work a walk here, but instead he's going to drive it out into right field. It's going to be on its way to the right fielder's glove, caught right before the wall. And Matt Vierling makes the catch, and all the fans tapping him on the back, getting in touch with their famous player. And here we go. So this is where they're talking about Lance McCullers tipping his pitches here on how his knees and gloves were kind of edged out, more or less kind of exposing that it was the breaking ball. So to your point, Clem, about tipping pitches, and they are just flashing his leg here like it's emergency on the old broadcast for Fox Sports tonight. I guess to both of you here as we see Chas McCormick line up 1 for 2 tonight. Just thoughts on so far the overall broadcast presentation from the MLB and Fox Network bringing you the World Series this year.
I haven't listened to them at all.
No, I mean visually. I'm not one who cares about the commentators as much as I care
do.
about how
You're a broadcaster.
Absolutely. But for me, knowing the production behind it, yes, the broadcaster carries the production. But if there isn't production value there, the easiest thing to judge is the production value. I think based on what you've seen from the production value, Clem, I know you've watched all the games. How has the production value and overall feel of the World Series visually been for you?
I don't know. It seems like Philly's hype, so that's what's important.
And Brandon, how about, like, has this been an aesthetically pleasing from camera angles to
Yeah,
graphics to
talk
everything?
about the game.
Bro, it's 3-0 to Chas McCormick. We're 1-0 away from going final in a
That's what
7-0
I'm saying.
game.
They're 1 out away from clinching a 2-1 series victory.
2-1
You want to
series.
talk about freaking the atmosphere? Or, like, not even the atmosphere. You don't want to see, like, mention the atmosphere. You want to talk about the game.
I can't listen to the game or else it goes through the speakers on the computer and then I get copyright strikes on your channel. We can't do that. It's physically impossible. Chas
Just
McCormick, though,
broadcast the game.
takes a strike right there. I haven't broadcast the game all game, and now all of a sudden I'm in trouble for not broadcasting the game. Jeez, guys, managers, I tell you, bosses, they suck.
Call the game.
It's 3-1 to Chas McCormick, the last standing hope for the Houston Astros here in the top half of the ninth inning. McCormick's going to swing, a check swing, in fact, and it will indeed be strike number 2 with the Astros down to their final strike. You want to write a comeback story right here. All the Phillies fans on their feet. They are ready to run the Astros out of the building here for the first night in Philly in this series. Of course, the series goes 2-3-2 in the World Series, and now Chas McCormick lining up to take this pitch, and he will swing, bounce it up the left field line, foul, and that will be the 13th pitch of the night for Belletti, who has made short work so far of the Astros, of course throwing several pitches now to Chas McCormick, 6, so he had 7 pitches to the first 2 batters. And boys, we are just about ready to carry this one home in Philly. Everybody on their feet, waving their red flags, and they are ready to get this red towels, I guess, rally towels. And there's everybody, that little fan right directly behind home plate, man. That is a moment he will never forget, as it is looked at, frozen, strike 3. Belletti gets him on the slider. And my friends, it is a 7-0 final for the Philadelphia Phillies over top of the Houston Astros on a 7-hit performance versus the Astros 5 hits. And Clem, to you instantly, instant analysis, a 7-0 final for the Houston Astros opponent, the Philadelphia Phillies at home, taking down the Astros and taking a 2-1 lead. What are your thoughts? Kind of what did you see tonight, and how did the Phillies get this done early?
Phillies caught McCullers tipping pitches and made him pay for it, and then just coasted from there.
And Jilly, I know we kind of tuned out during the mid part of the game and then tuned back in the top half of the 8th, but what you saw early, obviously you mentioned the Castellanos diving catch on Altuve. Did you catch any other moments early other than the tipping of the pitches from McCullers that you can sit there and say, man, this is why the Phillies won tonight?
They were patient. Yes, the tipping of the pitches probably helped, but they had a game plan. It was executed, and pitching was phenomenal. Before we went live, that was the key thing for me, was the pitching. The Phillies needed better starting pitching. They got that tonight. The bullpen, which has been going all series long, has been really good for the Phillies. Nola and Wheeler got rocked for 5 runs each. It changed the momentum of the games then. And the bullpen's been their saving grace this year, and they needed their starting pitcher to go out there and win them the game by himself.
And sorry, I just lost you guys there a sec. But yeah, no, absolutely. It's one of those situations where everything goes right for the Phillies. They get the starting pitching. The bullpen's excellent all the way home. And secondary to that, the offense shows up and puts up 7 runs. Now, Clem, you've gone through 3 games of this series. The Phillies lead 2-0 as things currently stand. How do we go into Game 4 from here, and kind of the expectations the Phillies have in Game 4 versus the expectations the Astros have in Game 4?
Well, for the Astros, it's a must-win game. I mean, it really is, because you need to tie the series back up. Otherwise, if it goes 3-1 in Philly for Game 5, I think that I want to know what Harper's talking about first with the announcers. Whatever.
Yeah.
About tipping pitches and maybe or something. But whatever. The Astros need to win tomorrow, because if it goes 3-1, with Nola pitching, and I'll get to that in 1 second. But if it goes 3-1 in Philly, they're gonna win Game 5, and that would be insane. Actually, well, Verlander's pitching Game 5, so maybe they do go back to Houston, but I think they're just better set up, and maybe even for the Phillies, switching it over now, the Phillies should win tomorrow. Realistically, I think with Nola on the mound, and they go up 3-1, things are looking good. Even if they give Game 5 to Verlander, though, maybe they don't pitch Wheeler Game 5. They play it smarter. Go Game 6 in Houston, probably against Lance McCullers, or maybe they throw somebody else because of what McCullers did tonight. But you go Wheeler, who's your number 2 in Houston, and win it in 6. So I think it'll be interesting to see what the Phillies do, but they need to win tomorrow. It's a must-win game for both teams. More so for the Astros because they need to win to tie the series, but a must-win for the Phillies because they could easily take this series if they can win tomorrow, which they should.
All right, B. Jilly. So Clem just laid it all out there. That's kind of the math of how it lines up for the Phillies to take it home in rather 5 or 6. Probability that the Phillies take home this series, securing Game 3 as the victory.
I believe they'll win the World Series. I don't agree with starting Nola tomorrow. I really don't. Because if Nola goes out there and for some reason the Phillies lose tomorrow, there is no way Suarez is pitching Game 6 in 2 days or 3 days.
Well,
He
no,
won't
it'll
be
be
rested.
Wheeler. I mean, it'll be Wheeler instead then.
If it goes up, if they do this Nola, Wheeler, Suarez all over again, or at least Nola and Wheeler, Suarez is not ready to go, and their chances of winning by the time it hits Game 6 to win the World Series is in favor of the Astros because the Astros are giving their pitchers that extra day rest. They're going and hoping that Draisaitl just scored.
I was wondering what the club vote was. I'm watching the Oilers game too. Sorry, we were sports heads here on Club Hawks.
It is not in the favor of the Phillies if they don't win tomorrow. If Nola loses tomorrow, the pitching advantage goes straight to the Astros.
And
I don't know about that. I'm going to disagree with you though, because let's just say that the Astros win tomorrow, okay? So they tie it up 2-2. Verlander goes on Thursday, and even if they win that game and you just pitch Nola and you pitch Wheeler, I still think to go in to tomorrow or Thursday, the Phillies bullpen is so much better right now than the Astros because they didn't pitch anybody tonight. They've got days rest. Like they are in a much better situation than the Astros having to throw Stanek, having to throw Urquidy. Like they are in a better situation in their bullpen. They've just got to figure out how to deal with Verlander, and they scored 5 runs off of him in the first game. So I don't know. I think even if you lose tomorrow, there's still a clear path for the Phillies because Suarez only threw 70 pitches, 5 innings. If he gets 2 days rest, they're going to use him, and I think he'll still be effective because of how much he was able to not be in a stress. Like he was so low tension tonight. So I still think it's a clear path for the Phillies, but if they don't win tomorrow, it makes it just a little bit tougher. But I don't know. I see the Astros really coming back from this unless Javier shoves and Verlander throws a no-hitter.
So
do you maybe see the Astros or the Phillies going Nola, Wheeler, bullpen, Suarez for game 7?
I think that's probably how you'd look at it. I think it depends on which game they win. If they win tomorrow, then I think you're selling out for Game 5. I think that it was clear that the Phillies, they did that in Game 3 of the NLCS, where as soon as they went home, they threw everybody to win that game, and they won. And then they played because they had a 2-1 lead. I think it's the same way here. Is if you win tomorrow and you have a 3-1 lead, I really do think the Phillies will play Game 5 like it's Game 7 and throw everybody to try to win that game. And it seems like that aggressiveness works for Philly. Like I said, they have a better rested bullpen. But in your case scenario, I do think that giving Suarez that extra day to go 7 probably makes more sense because you'd have Javier tomorrow, Verlander, and then Valdez. Philly's probably going to win tomorrow, like I said, but even if they don't and you go down to Verlander and you're down 3-2, Valdez against Suarez, maybe, like, that's a great matchup, and you do need to win that game, obviously, to force game 7 to give whoever or Suarez a chance, but I mean, you play your cards when you get there. I think that Philly's gonna attack it tomorrow, and I mean, you got to win tomorrow first. So it'll be interesting to have that conversation, game 6. But I think the Phillies are just in a better situation. If it comes down to it, Suarez pitches game 7. I think they'd be okay with that.
So I'm gonna ask you both boys here, right point blank. Phillies, Astros, whose offense shows up tomorrow? BJ, to you first.
I don't think it'll be offenses tomorrow. I think it's going to be the pitching duos.
Clem?
Yeah, I think Nola's throwing. Well, I don't think it'll be a shutout, but I think Nola's gonna shove, and Philly will win a close game, probably like 3-1 or something like that. But yeah, I'm more curious about game 5. If Philly doesn't win tomorrow, then it gets interesting. But I think Philly wins tomorrow.
And as we kind of have it here, right, is Philly has the clear advantage. We can talk about that all day. So then becomes the question, I know we're trying to very much so theme this around a Phillies post-game because of the results we had on the last post-game broadcast is the Phillies are the ones that carried us the views here on the stream. That said, as the Phillies have won tonight, is what does Houston have to do tomorrow and in game 5 to turn this series on a dime if they want to try and make it 3-2?
I mean, they got to win, but you got to win. You got to win on Verlander's day. You already lost to Verlander, or you already beat Verlander once for the Phillies. You already lost once for the Astros with Verlander pitching. Can't do that again. You need to win on Verlander's day regardless, which would send it back to Houston, and then hopefully you can play off of your home crowd, and maybe you save Valdez and he gets to work. I just think it's a must-win tomorrow for the Astros, but an even bigger must-win for them in Game 5.
And that's the big weird part about this World Series, the way it sets up in my mind, is obviously, right, you got the 2-3-2, 2-3-2. And that means, right as it's lined up, the Phillies won Game 1, they come home with a split, and with the 2-3-2, that means you've got a chance to sweep it at home here in these next 3 games. Game 3's already done, so you've got a chance to sweep it here in this next game and take a 3-1 series lead, and then just take it home and score yourself the World Series victory in Game 5. Just kind of mathing it out. It obviously comes up Phillies every time. But for the Astros, we've kind of talked about the pitching and stuff. How much does just kind of the old Astros adage of hitting lots of balls and really getting things in play change things if they can get that going in Game 4 and move it towards Game 5? Like you said, that's the one that Houston needs to win, Clem, and then obviously move that going home if they can get back to Game 6.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, I said that earlier on tonight. The Phillies pitching are keeping Alvarez and Altuve silent. Bregman's had a few good hits. It's been the role players like Kyle Tucker, Maladano, those guys that have been the Astros offense so far. The Astros need those guys to pick up. They need their top 1, 2, 3, 4 guys to be on base at least 6 times a game and get that hitting going for them. If they can't do that and the Phillies can shut them down, the Phillies are sweeping the next 2 games and winning it at home. They want to win it at home in front of that crowd. We saw how lively that crowd was tonight.
Philly is one kind of different animal when it comes to live crowds. Let me tell you, everything I've ever seen on TV makes me want to go down there and be part of it, but also makes me really scared to ever think about stepping foot in a Philly crowd, even if I am a Philly fan, because those guys, they are crazy. They are absolutely insane. We've got 5 minutes left in the post game here. We've talked about everything so far that we need to cover off. So I'm going to give you each, as it lines up here, about 2 minutes and 15 seconds, starting with you, Clem, to wrap up everything you could possibly think about when it comes to Game 4 tomorrow for the World Series, Astros Phillies.
I'll keep this really brief. Actually, Philly is an aggressive team who is going to play the numbers. What that means, they are obviously an aggressive team as it is. They are not defensive. They are an offensive built team. Harper, Hoskins, Real Muto, Schwarber. That is power right there. They're going to play the numbers. The numbers say that they are 6-0 at home in the postseason, and the winner of Game 3 has won like 68% or 69% of the World Series when they win Game 3. So they're going to play those numbers. They are going to be aggressive in their hitting. They're going to be aggressive in their pitching. They're pitching Nola tomorrow, 4 days rest. They are going after it. And if they win that game, I don't see them stopping. Bullpen is rested. They are going to come out aggressive again against Verlander. And I think they'll catch the Astros off guard and win it at home. But realistically, I think they'll win it in 6. They'll probably play a little bit smarter pitching matchup against Verlander. But regardless, they're going to be
We just lost a man.
Oh, I think his internet got out.
We're down a man. All right. Well, that's the end of Clem tonight, my friends. That is his thoughts right there as things come down. Obviously, he's big, very much so touching that it comes down to Verlander for the Astros. Your 2.5 minutes, time to shine.
I think, Philly's got to keep doing what they're doing, keeping the big guns in check.
You're back.
Oh, there he is right there. Keeping the big
back.
guns in check.
basically what I was.
Yeah, go for it, Clem. Finish
Go
it
ahead,
off.
Clem.
Oh, I was just going to say they're going to win it in 5, if not 6. They won't go to Game 7. Okay, there you go.
Finish her off.
All right, yeah, keep the big guns in check. Your bullpen's been solid for you. What the Phillies are doing, yeah, we didn't really agree with it being 7-0, but 1 inning for each guy, keeping them going. It's a good plan when it's close games. Don't get me wrong. When it's a 7-0 game, just keep the one guy out there. He's fine. But if Houston wants to turn this around and win this, they need some lineup changes. They need to go execute their game plan because so far, yeah, you score 10 runs in the first 2 games. You get shut out the second game. But those runs have been coming in huge spurts where it's second, third, fourth inning, and then there's nothing again. That was the first 2 games where a few innings got you all your runs. The Astros have only scored in, 5 innings all series? We have played 27 innings. Where on the other hand, the Phillies are finding ways to score.
28.
28. Yeah, 28. But the Phillies have found other ways to score more innings. So somewhere along the line, the Astros are getting dominated on offense here, even though they have scored 10 runs. And the Phillies, they're up there with the Phillies in runs, but the Phillies are finding different ways to win games, not relying on one big inning and hope your pitching can save you, because the Astros have relied on their pitching all year long. And now it's showing that it's caving in here.
Okay, I think both of you have said your piece. I think, Clem, before we lose you again, we're going to wrap it up. Friends, it's a 7-0 final for the Philadelphia Phillies tonight at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. They've got a chance now. You win the next 2, you win the World Series at home, you bring that raging Philly crowd home, and you take home the World Series for the first time in a long while if you're Philadelphia, and potentially starting what could be a very good year of sports in Philadelphia this calendar that we're seeing from the World Series to sometime before March when we're talking about a Super Bowl, maybe? Did I just curse it? Fly, Eagles, fly. But yes, it's looking like a good year in Philadelphia upcoming, and that starts here in the next 2 days for Philadelphia, looking to close out the series at home against the Houston Astros. Folks, we'll join you again tomorrow night for coverage of the Phillies and Astros, but tonight, that's going to do it for us. He's Clem. He's B. Gilly. Gilly's TV. I'm just having fun with that one. That's the new nickname I came up with a couple of days ago. I don't know if he's even a fan of it. We'll find out. We'll see how much I'm upset with here in a couple of days. But I am up on out of here. I'm Yak. Thanks so much.